Hello, everybody. Ooh, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an incredible day. I think the question of the day is going to be, what's your favorite movie and why? And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. As you might have imagined, there's a lot to cover. For some reason, in the cryptocurrency space, this also made major news, and I sat there like, what? Gold. Yes, gold, the metal that's really heavy, has hit a brand new all-time high. For those of you not looking at the screen, it went up to $2,140 per ounce. Fantasticals. At the exact same time, literally around the exact same time, which makes it even weirder, Bitcoin did the exact same thing. I don't understand why they happened at the same time. I saw a lot of speculation. Depending on wherever you get your finance news, CNN, CNBC, etc., etc. It is that there are predictions that the Fed is going to lower interest rates again. This much we know. It's just more of a when or how many. We had original predictions that there would be 5 interest rate rises. That's now fallen to around 4. But the expectations are that as the interest rates lower, the markets will completely pick back up. Remember how, in the good old days, whenever we had the good old quantitative easing. Hold on. Okay, sorry. That was the doorbell, and I was like, is it? I don't know why I'm getting, if you've noticed the last 5 videos, the doorbell's constantly ringing as I'm making a video, which is even odder. The point is, people assume that the Fed is going to lower interest rates, which is going to bode well for the markets. While it may not be excessively mainstream in the news right now, a number of other countries, their economies aren't doing well at all. And as such, they actually have already turned back on the money printer. But of course, this isn't going to be recorded everywhere or spoken about as widely. And the idea is basically that the Fed will have to do the same very, very soon. And if they are and have turned back on the money printer, markets will continue to do well as well. I think you get the entire point. So at the exact same time that Bitcoin rose back above, I think it went to 69,210. It was some very weird exact number. Gold did the exact same thing. So as this happened, see, this one says 200. I've seen 210 and a whole bunch of other things. How do I say this? Scary news for some reason ends up being a lot more popular than the actual real news of what's going on. So as was to be expected, every single time that we hit a brand new all-time high, a coin falls down. It has to do with people literally trying to time the market, trying to sell the news, anticipating. Here's the worst part. It's like a hive mind of ridiculousness where people assume that everyone else is going to sell, so they also sell at the exact same time. But it becomes this really weird self-fulfilling prophecy. As you sell because you think someone else is going to sell, but your sell ends up on the sell list on a cryptocurrency exchange. Other people see that there's a new sell, so they hit sell. Of course, triggering the cascade of liquidations in the market, causing it to actually go down. I looked around and I saw numbers ranging anywhere from 6 to 10% of a drop. More of them are reporting a 10% drop from the all-time high, which I think just sounds a little bit more sensational. 6% is okay, but a 10% drop. Oh my gosh, what kind of market does that? I've only seen that Bitcoin fell back down to $65,000. I didn't really, even on charts, I didn't see a 10% drop. Maybe it happened on one cryptocurrency exchange, and that's the one that's actually being reported. It says Bitcoin flash crash triggers $680 million in market liquidations. Shortly after hitting its new all-time high of 69,170, this one says 170, the premier digital currency is now recording unprecedented profit slashing. And I say this even while going through it. I've noticed, this is not to be rude or mean or anything of the sort, but I've noticed the quality of articles that I go through over the last couple of years has really declined. And a lot of times, I've mentioned before in other videos, I think personally, a lot of the people who are writing these articles, I think, are brand new either to writing and or to the market. So a lot of times they'll like it ends up being very verbose, their articles, as far as like the premier digital currency, as opposed to just saying like Bitcoin. There was no profit slashing, like simply people took profits. It's written in a way that it's meant to be. It's kind of like, remember being in high school or university and like you had to write like a paper and they were like, it has to be 10,000 words. And you're like, okay. The random juxtaposition of the sun on the foreboding morning unto which I awoke as I put on my slippers one by one. It's just extra words that don't really belong there. And this is what actually ends up happening for a lot of cryptocurrency articles right now. The main discussion is that Bitcoin rose to a brand new all-time high and then subsequently fell right after, but everyone's writing about it as if it's like some unexpected thing that we did not know was going to happen that we spoke about 2 or 3 days ago. The most surprising thing out of all these things is that Bitcoin didn't hit its all-new high on Friday. That's literally as surprising as it goes. We were talking about on Monday, we were like, we're pretty sure that Bitcoin's actually going to hit it sometime on Friday. I think it's this one right here. Yep. The also floating around is that a lot of different, what do you call it? Analysts are also basically saying the exact same thing. There's no real reason to be afraid. And I'll give it to you this way. I know that there are a lot of new people here. Hello, welcome to the channel, welcome to the space, welcome to the bull run. But I know that the fear is quite easy as well. It sometimes has taken people a long amount of time, years, to be able to even muster up the courage to get into the cryptocurrency space. It's not that you're weak or scared or terrified. This is a very crazy, weird, volatile market. And a lot of times when the market looks like it's going to do well, or you're hearing that it's doing well, or you see on the news, people jump into the market and or jump back in who haven't been in a while. And then any type of news of the market going down, Bitcoin drops by 10,000, Bitcoin fell by 10%. It scares new people for the same exact reason that these people did not get into the market before. There's a huge learning curve when being in this market, because you have to understand that, like all markets, things don't go up forever. They go up and then they fall back down. It's the same exact thing in the stock market. It just ends up being that for a large majority of people, the first time for them getting into a market or investing is actually into crypto, because there's such a low barrier of entry. This was something very big in 2016, 2017. There were a lot of discussions about this, why crypto was so popular, why we were seeing 15,000 new Bitcoin addresses per day. It's because there's not really, air quotes, like there's not really a lot to learn. You know what Bitcoin is. You can figure out that it's a currency. It's decentralized. You go into Coinbase, you click buy. A lot of times when it comes to like stocks and other things like that, you have to learn about what the company's doing. You have to learn about dividends. You have to learn. There's so many other barriers. Even I told you before, if you've ever gotten a chance to or have before, listened to finance news, it sounds like if you're in this space, you understand that when you first tune in, you're like, what are these people saying? It's restrictive on purpose so that normal people don't get into the market, so that it's just controlled by the wealthy. We also had that discussion during the entire Wall Street bet kind of thing, that was also going on. One of my best friends, I doubt he's watching, but hello. He sent me a message, and like we were laughing, but it was also kind of like it's normal, it's to be expected. A couple of months ago, his father contacted him and was like, "Hey, I heard Bitcoin's about to start doing some amazing things. How do I get into the market?" So he instructed his father. His father actually bought some, I don't know how much, but he bought some Bitcoin fragments, whatever, what have you. And then yesterday, when we saw the price like was rising, I wasn't even really around mentally for the new all-time high. His father sent him a message, and he was like, "Hey, we're nearing the all-time high. Should I sell? Am I going to sell? Should I be selling? The price is going down. Should I sell?" And he had to tell his father, he's like, just buy and hold. Just buy the coins and go about your day. Go do something else. But of course, when people are brand new to the market, you lightly obsess over it. You want to see what's happening with your money. I think now forgive me for saying this, I exist now in a realm where I'm lucky enough to be in a position where if I throw 1 or 2,000 into a market, nonetheless the crypto market, if it goes down, not that it doesn't affect me monetarily, but it's more like it doesn't scare me as much. Like I we went over that before, where I saw a lot of people who were screaming at me as they always tend to do as the bear market happens and prices are going down. And I was like, yeah, I also lost a tremendous amount of money, but I don't touch my crypto. For me mentally, it's literally a long-term hold. This is a long stretch thing. When you talk about Fidelity and BlackRock getting into it, Bitcoin is not disappearing anytime soon. Bitcoin is literally here to stay because these institutions have kind of told us so. You don't file all this paperwork. You don't go through all this trouble to create an ETF that's only going to be around for 24 months. No, these things will be around for at least the next 30 to 40 years, and other funds will also come out as well, which is only going to bolster and increase the range of Bitcoin and also its price. So I understand that writing or having scary articles literally sells. Like, people will click on them far more often, anticipating that the worst has happened. But you have to understand that this market is going, like we are entering, and I assume also entered, as you know, new all-time high. We're in the bull market, but with the bull market comes an incredible amount of volatility. Hear my words. You are going to wake up some mornings and you're going to see that you made $15,000, $18,000 in your portfolio. You're going to be elated. 4 days later, there's going to be a drop and you will lose $4,000 because something happened in the market. A crypto exchange did something. Someone said something on TV. The Fed made a rate decision, and you are like, you have to learn how to not let that affect you, because you have to understand that we're in the bull run and this is all long term. Like I said, if you've been into stocks before, if you ever watch a documentary, some of them are a bit cringy. If you ever watch a documentary about like generational wealth, or like these like really rich families, you hear some of the stuff that they say sometimes, and it's like they buy land, they buy homes, they buy stocks, they buy all, they buy assets, not with the expectation of like, well, okay, in 11 and a half months, let's sell this. It's like, no, this is ours. We're holding on to this because it is going to make us richer. And this should in some way be the idea as well when not only buying stocks, but also buying Bitcoin. And this is why educating yourself is also incredibly important. You should know where you have your money and why there's hundreds of millions of people who believe that this asset is going to be around for the next 100 or so years. So yeah, it says on the screen, it says experts are still bullish. Yeah, there's nothing to not be bullish about. There's always a drop. A lot of the people who are trading are actually robots. Don't know if you know that. In the finance space, a lot of times when you see, for those of you who don't know, it's more dystopianly futuristic than you can actually imagine. People have a whole bunch of like bots that go around and basically read articles, and they gauge the sentiment of what's going on within the markets. So they'll actually trade against what people are doing. If they see that the sentiment is quite sad, they'll actually start buying up tons of coins. They see that people are writing articles, or the articles are coming out of people are talking on social media. I'm bullish. I'm buying. I need more. The algorithms who are trading will also go, Well, there's not a lot left. My client wants more. Let's buy more before everyone else ends up buying it. It's a very, very fascinating way. Like, we kind of assume that there's, those people on Wall Street standing in that big room looking at screens and screaming and holding pieces of paper. No, we're in the future now. It's nearly all done by bots. So it's also, people are writing that they're going to sell when we get to the all-time high. The AI and the bots also have tons of information that showed previously before these things have happened. So they kind of beat everyone to the punch. And then also when prices fall, they know mathematically where they were going to fall, how much sell-off there would be. If the sell-off has accelerated and or slowed down, it slows down. They begin to buy up all over again. That's why the whales keep buying. And that's why even at the time of me making this video, while Bitcoin allegedly fell down, I like we keep seeing 10%, 10K drops everywhere. Bitcoin's currently at like $66,000. So it's not that far once again from its previous all-time high. It says legendary trader John Bollinger. I never know how to pronounce it. I've only seen people talk about it like on Twitter, but I've never heard anyone say this name out loud. Forgive me. John Bollinger calls Bitcoin's price drop a bit much. He basically said he was expecting, like many other people, that the price was going to drop. But he, in no uncertain terms, said that he realizes that a huge portion of the market is still actually just retail investors, everyday normal people who get scared quite easily. You can even see this a lot when we've spoken before about Sentiment and other on-chain analytical companies. They'll tell us that they see that a large portion of the movement in the market sometimes will be from retail traders. So not institutions, not companies, not banks, but like people who have 1/100th of a Bitcoin or 0.25 Bitcoin, what have you. They tend to be the most scared for whatever reason that's happening in their life. And a lot of times, if there's any kind of negative news, they sell off quite rapidly. And that ends up being the price drop, ironically, the price drop that we see. And then furthermore, the re-scooping up of the coins and of the money and the, once again, reallocation to the rich ends up taking place that way. It happens far more often than you would imagine, but also I do understand. It's not like I'm sitting here telling you to not be afraid. I understand what fear is like to have money in the market, but I've been here for so long. It's like, oh no, the price fell down. Well, cool, it's time to buy some more. So just understand that when you're in this market, things will go up, things will go down. I know that sounds ridiculous, but also that you can't see them because they're digital. There are sharks floating around you. They want your coins. They will do anything for it. And they will make sure that at some point they try to get you scared enough so that you resell off your coins thinking that, I'm timing the market. No, and then the market pops back up and you have to buy in at a much higher price. A company by the name of Deribit, Deribit, an options and futures cryptocurrency exchange and analytics firm Genesis Vol anticipate that Bitcoin this month, the next 30 days, is going to increase by 20, that's a very exact number, 20.8% within the next 30 days. These projections suggest that under ideal circumstances, Bitcoin's price could break through the $80,000 barrier. Even consecutive traders are optimistic, expecting Bitcoin to easily surpass 70,000 and 75,000 as well. This is basically because we hit 69,200 and something or other. It's all but a given at this point. It's just a matter of time. I would honestly, in all real expectations, I would assume it would take us until next Wednesday, next Thursday, like realistically. However, that's in a world where like it's just us and maybe 4 or 5 other companies. The issue is that we now have like $1 trillion companies who are in the space, and the amount of money that's flowing into their ETFs every single day is constantly breaking records. So if we break by past 70K today or tomorrow, I also wouldn't be surprised. I think 80K, I can see it by the end of the month. You have zero clue I am very interested to see where we are going to be 2 or 3 days before the halving. Because I want you, if you haven't been here before, during a halving, I know a lot of people got in after last halving. They saw prices were going up. All this money is being made, so that people tend to get in months after the halving has happened. I want you to be here as it's happening. Like I want you to feel the rumbles in the air. I want the halving to happen and you feel nothing because it's digital. Like it happens in the air. Like there aren't any fireworks as it takes place. And to see people completely lose their minds. It happens every single cycle, and it almost seems like hyper weird in a way that people end up then realizing that Bitcoin's issuance rate has been cut in half, and the buying, like it becomes a really weird frenzy over the course of a 1.5 year period. So I definitely want everyone to be able to experience that kind of madness. But I found relatively no negative news as far as where prices are, where people are anticipating the prices to go. Everyone's expecting them to go back up, which they already have, at least while I'm making this video. Also in the news, this is a very confusingly written article. It says, in a significant development within the cryptocurrency market, institutional investors have funneled a staggering $700 million into U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs, led by BlackRock and Fidelity. It says, despite Grayscale's robust outflux, that's not how normal people talk, and Grayscale's outflow of funds from their trust have only, and I air quote here, have only reached low millions. The most recent news that we had is that I think their outflows are now around $20 million comparative to the hundreds of millions that we're seeing in inflows. And therefore, this is why the mitigation has basically happened. We no longer see prices going down because any selling that Grayscale is doing is easily being swept up and thrown back into other ETFs. It says on the 5th of March, a remarkable milestone for spot Bitcoin ETFs was seen in the United States as it witnessed an unprecedented surge, notably according to data by Farside UK. Now, this is where it gets a bit confusing. It says the US spot Bitcoin ETF, it doesn't say market, it doesn't say single ETF, garnered approximately $662 million in inflows, marking one of the highest daily inflows to date. Once again, does not say if this was one ETF or multiple. However, then in the next paragraph, it says the spotlight shines on BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust IBIT and Fidelity's FBTC, which collectively have amassed over $900 million in inflows. Is that daily as well? The article says 700 million, 662 million, and that was that cumulatively 662? If that was the maximum 662, how did BlackRock and Fidelity do over 900 million in inflows? And then you would assume that maybe it means 900 million in inflows for the entire fund. No, because BlackRock, I think alone has over $10 billion in their Bitcoin fund. See, it's kind of weird, right? Notably, it says BlackRock's IBIT reported an impressive influx of 788 million. So 788 million is more than 662 million. So which ETF only... See, very confusing. I looked around and I saw other articles and it appears that 900 million is kind of the number to gauge, which makes it even crazier because the situation that we had before, for those of you who were not here or have simply forgotten, is that the inflows into the Bitcoin ETFs, all of them, was around 50 million, then 110 million, then 250 million, then around, it stayed around 300, 400 million for a while. But this was also daily. These were daily inflows. Like this wasn't like, oh, they only are holding 300 million. No, this was the daily inflows. And then we recently got news that one of the days of the inflows was around 560 million. And that's what one of the days, this was like 4 days ago. I was like, yeah, there's $500 million. You understand how much $1,000,000 is? Now understand how much $500 million is going into one fund in one day. And I don't want to sound like a broken record. Rich people are buying up all the Bitcoin. I'm not sure how I can make that any more clear, if not crystal by this point. Simply because this is insane. The level of buying is something that I can say this, is something that we literally have never seen before. Not only from like a Bitcoin perspective, but also from an ETF perspective. For those of you who weren't here, because it's far out surpassed that by now. We had news after 4 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4. After 4 weeks, BlackRock's ETF alone had outperformed 99.98% of all ETFs ever. EVER, ever, in 4 weeks. Their inflows to their fund alone has risen by another 20 to 30% in the last 2 or 3 weeks. It's now like the best performing ETF ever. It's clear that all of this accumulation is happening because we're so close to the actual halving. The understanding that more people will have in the future. We're living through some really weird times right now. Bitcoin as as an experiment has worked out extremely well. The fact that we've gotten to this point where we've got the largest institutions on the planet gobbling up as much Bitcoin as they possibly can. And keeping in mind, these are just for the ETFs. We also had news recently as well, for those of you who weren't here. BlackRock said on TV that they already have their own Bitcoin that isn't inside the ETFs, like their own stash, and they're looking to buy a lot more just for them, like just them. They want tons of Bitcoin, and they're also BlackRock, so they're not just buying one coin. They're not just buying 15 Bitcoin and going to be like, okay, guys, that's it. We don't want any more. No, they're going to try and buy as much as they possibly. If MicroStrategy has said they own 193,000 Bitcoin. They said we're going to buy as much as we can. They want all the Bitcoin. Now imagine a company who's worth like 380 times as much as they're worth. Do you think BlackRock's going to stop buying Bitcoin? No. They're going to literally do everything that they can. What we're living through right now is history, but it's also going to be in the digital history books that we see in the future, because a lot of the public, and it's not their fault, it has to do with not knowing how markets work, having very little, if none at all, financial know-how and or prowess and or understanding markets, and nonetheless understanding what Bitcoin actually is and why we have Bitcoin and why the idea of inflation for consumers is bad. It's great for governments because governments can continuously show how much more debt that they have and how much more money that they've printed to show that their GDP is going up. But for the everyday person who doesn't want to deal with their supermarket run costing around 30, 40, 50% more than it did like 6.5 weeks ago, the idea of Bitcoin is that it's finite on purpose, is that there is enough for everyone who's actually on the planet, and that we know that it is deflationary over the course of a 100-year period. So we can essentially, not to sound prophetic, but if we can live through a world where we experience deflation and we see that things become like less expensive. So we have less things to worry about because we know that things will become cheaper as long as they're priced in Bitcoin. So if you hold Bitcoin, things become cheaper for you as you become richer as you hold that Bitcoin. The problem is that the vast majority of the public, and dare I say billions of people, have heard of Bitcoin, but they don't understand what it's for. So you may hear about it on the news that it's a great way to make money, but you don't understand what it means for the halving to happen, to have a proper 4-year continual monetary policy that cannot and will not be changed. You can have the Fed right now be like, we're going to print $789 trillion US because we want to. They can change economic policies anytime. Bitcoin's mathematical. We know exactly what's going to happen when it's going to happen. The issue is that there already was not a lot of Bitcoin floating around, and rich people knew that. And that's why they've been buying so feverishly the last couple of years. So we're going to get to a point where I still believe this to be so. We're going to enter a point, this halving or next halving, where people are really going to start to begin to get it. And I think more education is, of course, needed as well. Like, I think we need people to really understand what the halving signifies. It's a monetary policy that's baked in. It happens every 4 years. But also the idea of why Bitcoin becomes more expensive. It's relative to the amount of inflation that we're seeing around us. As more money gets printed, more money flows into Bitcoin. The more money that happens to the other currencies, the more money continuously flows into ours. But there is a finite amount of Bitcoin, and this is what causes the price to rise comparatively to the other currencies. So as we see fiat currencies continuously being devalued, Bitcoin gains more value. And the issue is that at some point, Bitcoin will probably go over $1 million. And the people who benefit from this the most are the people who are holding Bitcoin. So this is why I'm a huge advocate of making sure that billions of people understand that they have access to this market. You understand what it means for these companies to be in the space, right? They're also anticipating $1 million Bitcoin. They're anticipating at some point, and this is also a bit of the weirder side, companies are anticipating that at some point you are going to become very rich from having Bitcoin, and that you're going to want to sell it. You're going to, buy a Lamborghini, buy this new shiny thing so that they can have your Bitcoin, so that they can accumulate more. Because then if Bitcoin goes up to $10 million, as we continue to see the devaluation of fiat currencies, who becomes richer? Well, the person who you got your Lamborghini from. Your Bitcoin 10x'd in price, essentially meaning you bought that car for $300,000, you actually bought it for $3 million. You become the pizza guy. This is why they're hoarding and buying so much Bitcoin. This is why when we talk about the actual price predictions for 2029 and 2033, a lot of time, for those of you who weren't here a couple years ago, the guy Plan B, he was like, I don't want to say it because it sounds crazy. Like they all have their chart showing over a $10 million Bitcoin. Now, what does that do for people who are holding the US dollar? It's terrible because their money has inflated by so much. What does it do for people who are holding Bitcoin? They live in a new era of prosperity. What does that do for the rich people who are throwing in $700 million per day into these ETFs as Bitcoin's price continues to rise and they're making tons of money? What does that do for MicroStrategy? There's a lot of money to be made, but you have to, and this is what I was talking about earlier as well. I cannot and will not ever tell you what to do with your money. That's simply something that I'm not going to do. But I do ask, if you are in this market, that it just not be for quick profits and that you actually understand why Bitcoin is popular, why we keep getting news about multiple countries around the world where their currency is collapsing. These people, like the citizens, they're shifting their money into Bitcoin. Read and understand everything that's taking place in the world around us. It's very, very important for you. It's important for your wallet. The very last thing that I want is for us to be in 2033 and 70% of my listeners are like, yeah, I bought those socks with the lights on them. Yeah, I know. It came out to like $35,000 now. Yeah, I regret it. No, just like long term. This is long term. Other coins will go up in price, but understand what Bitcoin is and why there's such an energy around it. Read, learn more, don't get distracted. Understand, I told you all before, years ago, and it's going to happen now this run as well. People are going to be making new coins. I swear to goodness. The same friend I was just telling you about, we were laughing with tears in our eyes. Somebody made a coin. It was called like Cat With Boots, WIF. With Boots or something like that. And people threw all this money into it. The coin was pumping. And like an hour and a half later, the coin collapsed. And it's like everyone sees something brand new and shiny, but you don't realize that the people, like the man in the castle, is accumulating the thing that he's telling you not to accumulate. Why are all these rich people going after Bitcoin? Why are institutions so obsessed with Bitcoin? Why are countries mining Bitcoin? Why are citizens around the world who are dealing with hyperinflation, why are they shifting their money into Bitcoin? Why are they not buying Doge? Why are they not buying Cat with Boots? Why are they not buying Tron? Understand what's happening. I don't want anyone here to literally get left behind, because that's what's going to happen. Mathematically, there's someone hearing my words who's not going to listen, who's not paying attention, who will get to the year 2033. They'll see the price of Bitcoin and then they'll be like, well, I guess the Maserati and the trip to Vegas, I guess it was worth it. It's nonsense. No, you have to think long term. This is a long term game. The world has shifted. We are not in the 80s. We are not in the 70s. We are not in the 60s. We're not in the 90s. We're not in the early 2000s anymore. We are talking about these wealthy people are accumulating all the land on this planet. Look it up. They're buying lakes and rivers. Look it up. They're buying all the homes. Why do you think these institutions are buying up all these homes? They're buying the land, they're buying the water, they're buying the homes on top of the land, they're buying air rights, they're buying up all the Bitcoin. Why do you think they're doing this? Why do you think we're not getting news every single day that $900 million is flowing into gold ETFs? Why are we not hearing that there's $788 million flowing into other ETFs every single day? Why these specific ones? Why is BlackRock's ETF the best performing ETF ever made? We had news a couple days ago. It takes and has taken other ETFs 2 to 5 years to get what BlackRock got in 4 weeks. Do you see the signs? They're not even written on the wall. They're written on the blockchain. They're written on the screen right in front of you. Why is it happening for Bitcoin? Why are so few people paying attention? You can hear that the largest companies in the world, BlackRock is the company that owns everything. You can hear that they're buying more Bitcoin for themselves as a company, and their inflows are $900 million in one day. And you go, I think I'm going to buy that coin over there that has an animal on it. You don't get it? What are you not understanding? When you saw, I saw something last thought. I saw something online a couple days ago, and they were talking about the actual level of wealth distribution that we currently see right now. You know that we are literally on the cusp of Victorian era wealth distribution. For those of you who don't know history or aren't, that era was seen as one of the worst in history because all of the wealth was just to the wealthy. They owned everything. They owned the land. They owned the homes on top of the land. They owned all the gold. They owned everything. The problem is now is that it's a lot easier to confuse people. It's a lot easier to show, but you have a job, but you can pay your rent. I mean, your rent has gone up by 30%, but you can still pay it, right? I mean, if you just take out a little bit of debt, you can go on that vacation. Your friends can't go on that vacation. So technically, you're richer than them. Your friends are in debt by 200K. Well, I mean, you're only in debt by 35K. I've seen this before. I've seen this explanation thrown out there before, and I couldn't believe it. The explanation was that, well, you're not as in debt as your friends, so technically you're richer. Don't you want those new shoes? You deserve it. You need You need to go hang out with your friends this weekend. Just take one of your credit cards. I mean, it's only $400 on the card. It's not like it's 30,000 or something. You can be tricked into believing that you're doing well, that you're well off, that things aren't crazy, as you see all the assets being snapped up around you. No, things are fine. Things are totally okay. I had that conversation with everyone. I remember in 2017 and also in 2021. I was like, if you get to the situation where You have enough money that you can push into another cash-making asset? Of course. This is all about long-term. None of you, now I assume maybe one of you, hello, none of you are 18 anymore. It's time to get it together. This is long-term. This is how you build generational wealth. Why are all these companies, institutions, so focused on Bitcoin while 7 billion other people are just walking around looking at the walls, buying fancy shoes, buying fancy clothes? I deserve a vacation this year. I'm going to go on a 2-week vacation, and guess I'm flying business. Why are you flying business? Just to show up to your friends who are also broke. The world is crazy right now. Understand what's taking place. The reallocation of all these assets is going to make people incredibly wealthy, but is also going to change the world forever, because if there already exists a whole bunch of families who have owned these homes and these houses and this land for over 100 years, even if you want to say 30, 40, 50 years, they're not letting go of that property. You know that the property is going to be worth more next year and then 5 years from now. Now imagine 100 years. Imagine being the wealthiest families. Yeah, we've held on to this property. My great grandfather bought it. I mean, it was 145,000. Yeah, it's only around like 1.5 million now. Not as much as our other properties. Pay attention. At the moment, here's the dip. Here's the movement back up. Bitcoin is currently at $66,382. Ethereum is up by 2.99%, is at 3,800, doing very well. I'm glad that things are like moving on back up. Many coins are like just near the green area. XRP is down by 5%. Who knows why? I don't think anything is too dramatic. Okay, Uniswap is up by 17%. Internet Computer is down by 12. Leo said, I haven't said those words in a long time. Leo said Unis Leo is up by 12%. Aptos is up by Leet. It's up by 1337. That was very, very specific. Filecoin is down by 7. Something called Tau, is up by 4.4%. Lumens is down by 9. Pepe Coin is up by 6. Anything else crazy? And Bonk is down by 11. And Arweave? Arweave, okay, is up by 12.97% as well. Very intense time to be in the market, but I look forward to going through the bull run with all of you, because it's like the most fun time within the market. I do hope that you have all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for paying attention, watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking. Is SHIB the number 10 coin? Shiba Inu is the number 10. You understand what it means to be in the top 10 ranking of a $1 trillion market? How the fudge did Shiba Inu get to the top 10? Am I missing something? Oh boy, Shiba Inu is the top 10 coin. Thank you all once again for watching and listening. And I'll be talking to you all soon. See you.